Allies have been a favorite of mine for a long time, ever since Battle for Zendikar. They just made sense. You know, here's my attempt at a Boros Allies deck. This deck is not 100% by the way, it's simply a deck proposal waiting for your input. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. A Koum Battleslinger is up first, a 1/1 with haste that gives allied creatures we control +1/+0 until end of turn when allies enter. What a fantastic combat bonus, and according to Moxfield, the average mana value of the deck is 1.48, so you know we'll be triggering this ability a ton. 4 copies of this. Making all our creatures swole is just the beginning. Makindy's Shieldmate gets a +1/+1 counter every time an ally enters. Sure, it's a defender, but when this thing is a massive because of all the allies, our opponents won't be able to hit us easily. 3 of these in the deck. This one has a rather steep mana cost, but Tuk Tuk Grunts does the same thing as Makindy's Shieldmate by getting a +1/+1 counter when allies enter. But it has haste instead of defender, so there's 1 copy of this. Super sweet battle axes on this guy. 3 Highland Berserkers give us the ally ETB effect of giving all our allies first strike for the turn. Way handy in combat, of course. 3 Makindy Patrols rally our allies and grant them all vigilance for the turn. A big army that never taps is pretty intimidating if you ask me. Ondu Cleric is one of the best cards in this deck. It gains us life when allies enter equal the number of allies we control. That's just bonkers. This will trigger constantly and always keep us ahead. There are of course 4 copies of this in the deck. Into the utility allies now, we've got 3 copies of Zada's Commando. It has first strike natively and lets us tap allies we control to deal 1 damage to our opponent. So if things are a bit slow, this will help the game move along. And the last allies in the deck are 4 copies of a Koum Flameseeker. Cohort to discard a card and draw a card. Again, keeping our deck running at a steady pace. Our allies can get pretty big, so why not throw in 2 copies of Crash Through to give them all trample for the turn, as well as drawing us a card. For the versatility, I've added 2 Hearth Charms to the deck. This will either destroy an artifact creature, give all our creatures another +1/+0 bonus, or make a small creature unblockable for the turn. Any of one of these could be good in the right situation. Make a small ally unblockable, then dump all our allies onto the board to make it huge. I like that option. And even if the creature doesn't get the unblockable bonus, I've got 4 pressure points in here to tap down opponents' creatures and draw cards. This is a heavy combat deck, so I thought tapping things down could help. These will all be very vulnerable, so 4 copies of Shelter will help a ton, give our creatures protection from the color of our choice for the turn, and draw a card. And speaking of protection, there are 2 copies of Your Temple is Under Attack. This gives all our creatures indestructible until the end of turn, making our army even better. You probably want to avoid the second option though, but it could possibly come in handy in a pinch. Finishing off the main board, there are 10 mountains and 7 plains, as well as 4 Windscarred Crags because I like the life gain. Moving over to the sideboard, there are 2 more copies of Hearth Charm for that versatility, 3 Disenchants for the artifact or enchantment removal, 3 Fierce Retributions for a nice attacking creature kill spell, and for more artifact removal there are 4 Raise the Effigies. It can also grant a +2/+2 bonus for the turn. And then finally 3 copies of Turf Wound to keep our opponents from playing lands for the turn. This could come in mighty handy sometimes. Plus, it draws us a card. Well, that's it. I hope you liked it. Again, this is not a finished product. This deck will also cost you around $21.18. Now, keep in mind, I need feedback to make these decks better to shuffle up the meta. Thank you to my patrons and thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss your weekly dose of magic.